Alonso's fierce response at Red Bull rumours. Fernando Alonso was the centre of attention before the race weekend in Brazil for reasons that made him so mad that he even said there would be consequences. And oh boy, there were. The motivation with which Alonso raced this weekend was evident, and he wanted to prove something to the grid and to the journalist who pushed those fake news stories. But could there be anything true to those Alonso rumours? And what if they come true? Fernando Alonso's anger knows no bounds, especially when it comes to Formula One gossip, and few drivers in the sport take issue with rumours as vehemently as the two-time world champion, as he has been crystal clear about his unhappiness with the speculation surrounding a potential move to Red Bull. Alonso has even vowed to ensure there are consequences for those responsible, and while the exact nature of these consequences remains uncertain, whether it involves exerting behind-the-scenes pressure or simply sidelining journalists and media outlets who have crossed him, Alonso seems determined to follow through on this threat. The anticipation of an energetic reaction from Alonso began with enigmatic tweets from a reputable Spanish F1 journalist after the Mexican Grand Prix, and these tweets were interpreted as a hint that Alonso might leave Aston Martin after just one season to replace the under-pressure Red Bull driver Sergio Perez. Other theories included a straightforward seat swap, with Perez returning to the team that released him in 2020, or even the possibility of Alonso contemplating retirement following Aston Martin's struggles in 2023. However, it is the notion of a move to Red Bull that appears to have particularly annoyed Alonso. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Alonso made it evident that he did not appreciate the stirring of rumours. He went so far as to assert that he would ensure there were repercussions, and you might assume that Alonso would only react so strongly if the possibility of a Red Bull move were genuine, and he was upset that it had been leaked. Otherwise, why would he take issue with being linked to it? So, despite Alonso's expertise at leveraging the media to his advantage, he strongly dislikes seeing information that contradicts his perspective, and individuals, especially persistent online journalists who latch onto Alonso's reputation for attention-seeking, are essentially asking to be on his bad side. If a move to Red Bull is not on the cards, as seems to be the case, we can understand why he would be frustrated with people using his name to generate hype and garner attention on social media or website clicks. This is why he was quite harsh in denouncing it as baseless rumours concocted by individuals trying to gain followers. It's widely known that the cryptic tweet that sparked all of this came from Spanish journalist Albert Fabria. However, it's entirely possible that Alonso's anger is directed at someone else. Alonso seems to have paid close attention to what has been said or written throughout the week, and by whom. He was not explicitly named in the original tweet, but he has inevitably been the subject of wild and persistent speculation on social media since. Some articles even mentioned him in response to the tweet, and when emphasizing his annoyance with the rumor mill going into overdrive, Alonso made a point of specifying that there wasn't anyone present at his media session at the Interlagos paddock on Thursday. He stated, "In this room, I appreciate that all of you are professional journalists with years of experience in Formula One. You've earned your respect, and that's how it should be. All the rumors are coming from people who are not in this room. They are just here to make fun, and I don't find it amusing when they toy with anything." The intensity of this criticism and its broad target suggests that it extends beyond a single established Spanish media personality who attends every race and regularly interacts with Alonso, and this indicates that Alonso is reacting to more than just social media buzz. It implies that he is disturbed by something he has seen in the media since this all began, and that he doesn't hold a high opinion of its source. During the race on Sunday, the Aston Martin returned to respectability, comfortably eclipsing a troubled Ferrari and a very troubled Mercedes. But even so, the Aston Martin was half a minute behind at the end, and it took one of the best drives of Fernando Alonso's long F1 career to secure that third place over Sergio Perez's Red Bull. The race was a two-stopper, such was the high degradation rate imposed by the contoured long corner Interlagos on a very hot weekend. Soft, medium, soft was the preferred sequence, with the hard simply too stiff to be anything other than slow. And while Verstappen and Norris at P1 and P2 respectively were comfortable in their positions, the attention of the spectators shifted away from them, and instead it was on Alonso's tenacious defense against an aggressive Red Bull, as it seemed unfathomable that Alonso could maintain his lead over simply a faster vehicle. Perez initiated his offensive early in the second segment after overtaking the struggling Mercedes he had started behind, and by lap 33 out of 71, he was just 1.5 seconds behind Alonso's Aston, sometimes closing in by 0.5 seconds per lap. However, Perez's medium tyres were 5 laps more worn than Alonso's due to an earlier pit stop influenced by Mercedes' strategy, and to avoid excessive tyre wear and reduce his second stint, Perez had to wait patiently, postponing the confrontation until the final phase. Alonso, noticing Perez heading for the pits, asked his team about extending his own stint, feeling capable of pushing further to maximize his tyre advantage later on. Despite a lead of over 3 seconds, painstakingly built over 12 laps, his team directed him to pit on the following lap, and the final showdown was ready. Alonso led by 3 seconds, with Perez narrowing the gap by half a second every lap, and 24 laps remaining on the season's most passable circuit. It appeared Alonso's chances for a podium were slim, yet such predictions didn't account for Alonso's sheer genius, resilience, ingenuity, and intense competitive spirit. Knowing it was inevitable he'd be caught, he initially concentrated on ensuring he'd have plenty of tyres left by the time that happened, which just hastened how quickly Perez caught him in 5 laps and ensured Checo had used up more tyres than him. But as soon as the Red Bull was close, Alonso stepped up the pace by 0.5 seconds, stretching to keep himself out of DRS reach. Alonso therefore dedicated his phenomenal result to everyone in the Silverstone factory trying to salvage the team's 2023 season. "This is a phenomenal result for the team," he added. "We've been struggling for a couple of months already, especially the last 2 events with 2 retirements. So this podium is for them and for everyone in the factory, and we keep fighting until the last lap. Obviously, we are still learning about the car. These cars are so complex aerodynamically. We've been experimenting a little bit to find a direction for next year without forgetting that we are still competing this year. So I'm happy for the result." Alonso's podium finish for Aston Martin was indeed amazing, particularly with the speculation that he might join Red Bull, and the consequences he hinted at earlier last week might still be unclear, but his performance was impressive, especially more because of the fact that it wasn't that Perez had a poor race, rather Alonso delivered a masterful performance, demonstrating that he would be an attractive option for Red Bull, seeking to strengthen their team. Yet, given such a display, it's unlikely that Alonso is contemplating retirement, and he and his team appear to be making strides in the right direction, still competing for podiums impressively. At the end of the day, if we're being honest, many people would find it very exciting to see how Alonso would fare against Max for at least one season, and it could provide him with a more substantial challenge compared to what Perez has offered thus far. Additionally, considering Alonso's history of joining teams and then experiencing a decline in performance, there may be hopes or expectations that he could potentially join Red Bull, and this move could potentially shake things up significantly. There have also been suggestions that Alonso's proficiency in developing cars and contributing to the team may not be the strongest, and that's why even if Alonso were to join Red Bull, it's likely that Max's input would be heard more than that of the Spaniard. Nevertheless, it's an intriguing scenario to contemplate, given Alonso's track record of making noteworthy career decisions, and it is true that some of them have indeed paid off, such as his recent success with Aston Martin, where he secured 7 podium finishes. A commendable feat, and a feat that I don't believe even the most optimistic Aston Martin fan would have considered at the start of the season, considering his previous performance. So whether or not these rumors are true, and Alonso was strongly against them, it would be an interesting sight to behold. So that's going to do it. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Would you like to see Alonso in a Red Bull next to Verstappen? Thanks for watching Racing Zone, and we will see you in the next video.